Hello, welcome to my flash talk entitled How to Set Up a Successful Collaboration with an Embassy, presented on behalf of the Penn Science Policy and Diplomacy Group. My name is Tori Lovins, and I'm the Diplomacy Chair for PSPDG. Penn Science Policy and Diplomacy Group is a student group based at the University of Pennsylvania. In the last couple of years, we have started and maintained several successful collaborations with embassies all over the world. And this has given our members valuable hands-on experience in diplomacy. We would like to share our experiences and hope that other student groups can facilitate similar collaborations. In this flash talk, I will highlight two of our collaborations to give you a sense as to what these collaborations can look like. The first is our collaboration with the Lithuanian Embassy, where we interviewed Lithuanian Americans living in Philadelphia about mental health. We then wrote up a report and were able to send a member to Lithuania to present the report to the Lithuanian Parliament. The second collaboration I will highlight is our work with the Swedish Embassy. We conducted a literature review of health and climate technology, lifelong learning, and digital transformation of business in the United States. The report was distributed to many ministries within the Swedish government, and we were invited to the embassy to present our work and meet the diplomats that work at the embassy. Collaborations between student groups and embassies present a unique opportunity to facilitate equitable science through diplomacy. We know that many populations, both locally and globally, do not have equal access to science and scientific resources due to inequities such as language, race, and economics. In fact, as you can see in the graph where type of inequality is on the y-axis and the coefficient for inequality is on the x-axis, global inequalities in science are even bigger than those in the economy. Furthermore, as seen in the graph on the right, where countries are colored by number of indexed articles per million inhabitants, most scientific articles published in established academic journals come from a small number of countries. As such, collaborations with embassies can be a wonderful springboard from which to promote diplomatic relations between the United States and other countries, with the goal of improving science access. They also encourage students in the United States to consider diverse perspectives and reflect on their own privilege. I'll now take you through our recommended workflow for setting up and maintaining the collaboration, as well as some helpful tips and tricks that we learned along the way. To begin, it is helpful to consider your project. Do you have a project in mind? Or would you prefer to take on a project that the embassy has prioritized? Preparing a project in advance can provide more structure to your experience. Taking on a project that the embassy is prioritizing can give you a more realistic experience of the work that embassies do. Next, you should select an embassy and find contact information for that embassy. Some embassies, like the Swedish Embassy, have diplomats on staff to handle science and technology. However, most embassies don't. Oftentimes, it is the economic office that handles science and technology, and the emails for the offices are usually on the embassy website. We have also found that being a citizen or a dual citizen of the country can help, although it's definitely not necessary. Once you have written to the embassy and the embassy has agreed to a project, it is important to establish clear communication with the embassy. It can be helpful to set up an introductory meeting to establish some basic ground rules. When do you meet? How often? Who is handling primary communication? And what is the time commitment? What rights do you have to the work? Etc. Finally, once the work is finished, it can be useful to consider how you will promote your work. Writing an op-ed or a publication can be an extremely useful way to share what you've learned. You can also ask to present your work either to the embassy or to a governing body of the home country, as we did in our Lithuanian collaboration. You may also want to consider bringing in some diplomats from your embassy to speak to the larger body in your organization. Collaborations between embassies and student groups can be a wonderful and enriching experience. It can give early career scientists insight into how science diplomacy works in action, can decrease global gaps in science inequity, and can remind students of their own privilege working and conducting science in the United States. So thank you all for listening to my flash talk. I hope it was helpful and I look forward to any questions.